Yes. Amazing. So I just found out that I can share my screen, which is really good considering that I will be able to show you some astrology. So that makes me really happy. I'm going to move some stuff around so that if I decide to share my screen with you, it'll be easy for you to see. Cool. Amber, our lovely mod, has our moderator qualities now. I gave the permissions there. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for the amazing emojis. And Amber has gotten us started. So this is your Monday Magic Mood Boost. Welcome. I am Crystalline Sophia. I'm your friendly astrological magician. And now we even can do replays and I can share my screen. So we are going to get into astrology and magic in a deeper way than we could before. And I love this because it's even easier for me to look at. So Amber's going to help me out with making sure I don't miss any questions, but also I can see better. Hi, Liz. Hey, Russ. I am here. Yes. I actually, you guys got to do a sort of like off books astrology reading this morning, and it went really well. And I love when that happens. It always gives me a little bit of a high. So I'm going to try to ground myself a little bit here. I've got my water. Who knows if I'll get around to drinking it? But it is good to see you all. How is the sound? How's everything going? Sounds good. Looks good. Thank you, Amber. Liz is here. We've got we've got the party going on, and I appreciate you. Awesome. So, as always, you guys, we're in a different platform now, which is really nice, actually. Sounds great along with video. Thank you, Nancy. Nice to see you. If you have any questions about astrology, about folk magic, about psychic mediumship, spirituality, or even theology, let me know. That's what I'm here for. I literally do this every week because I enjoy answering your questions and I hold myself accountable for educating myself, not to tell you what to think, but to give you resources that I have curated so that you can know where to look next for your own answers. I will do my best to answer everything I can. Jackie is here. Guys, we found each other. Misty, hello. I'm so excited to see you. Yes, I'm really glad that this platform seems to be supportive for everybody who has been joining us regularly. And may it be something that is the least problematic possible for a long while until whatever comes next becomes available. So, yes, this week we do have some great astrology happening. I've already been working ahead. So, you're going to see me reference some stuff a lot, mostly because my brain is in the beginning of March, because I am planning ahead for March, since I will be gone in Egypt for 3 weeks at the end of February into mid March. I'm making sure that all of my content is ready and will be posted here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And I will be posting candidly on Blue Sky as usual. And to anybody who is in the Patreon, I will already have your blog posts scheduled. You will not miss a beat. You will not know I'm gone, except that I will be posting pictures of Egypt in between all of the regular posts that you can look forward to. So I'm excited. Hi, S. Dellen. Nice to see you. It's great to see everybody here. Thank you. So, yeah, we've got time, we've got each other, and this is great. So, we are at February 10th. If you guys have been watching the Alchemist Inkwell podcast, Em and I had both said, it's going to be a month that it goes by like that. And it really is doing that already. I'm living in the future at the moment, trying to get everything working and prepared. But even to already be at the 10th of February feels so fast, which is pretty welcome. Nancy, the Patreon is the Modern School of Ancient Wisdom Patreon. If you click on the link in my bio, can we say that on this app without getting filtered? You will find it. And of course, we have that there too. It's crazy fast. Yeah. So I think I'm going to try to fix the Patreon to just be at Crystal and Sophia too, so it's consistent. But yeah, thank you, Amber. I appreciate you for that. So yeah, isn't this great? Cool. We are on the 10th. Now today has what I would consider, we are on the 10th of February. I'm just making sure I'm on the right thing here. The Leo full moon is this week. Okay. I just did the new moon this morning and I'm like, it's the full moon. Did I miss something? Sorry about that, you guys. So today is the 10th. Today has the transit that I would consider the most active transit of the week. Reason for that is that we are having Mercury square Uranus today. Mercury and Uranus have a lot in common in that their major thing is change and unknowability or unpredictability. Uranus does it on a grander scale because Uranus moves slowly. So when Uranus is up there, being kind of like the wrecking ball of the solar system, Mercury comes in, this little like Hermes trickster guy, being like, hey, I like wrecking balls. I'm going to give you a way to actually access Earth. And so what we get is a lot of surprising new information, surprising new connections, surprising new ideas. Mercury is currently in Aquarius. This is an air sign. And so for Mercury, this is the sign that Mercury likes to be in. Mercury is the ruler of the air triplicity by day. And then Uranus, who is this big natural force out in the depths of space, right, comes in and says, but I want to make it bigger. I want to make it even more surprising. If you thought you saw me coming, no, you didn't. And so, what we might find today, especially in the headlines, I would look for this. What we might find is something new and surprising coming up that we were like, I didn't see that coming. Normally, we'd be like, oh no, I didn't see that coming. But I feel like since 2020, we're just going to be like, well, I didn't see that one coming, but here it is. So, with that, we may learn something new today. And also, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? So, with Uranus, you also get inspiration, you also get ingenuity, ingenious ideas. So, you might also get a really good idea. We might also see in the headlines some kind of a new development that gives us access to something that we didn't have before, some kind of new technology that is making really big gains or has been created. So that's something to look forward to as well. And again, since Mercury is doing well right now, Mercury is in a triplicity that Mercury enjoys, we might even say we're leaning more towards that more positive outcome. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, so it may be something that we want to just keep our expectations managed about, but it is something that might be something that leads to really good progress, which is always interesting and fun to follow. So if you have any questions about that so far, if I can clarify something, let me know in the chat, but I will keep going. So that's what we're seeing this week. Tomorrow, the sun, because Mercury is nearby. Yesterday, we had Mercury's cazimi in Aquarius, and it was Mercury's direct cazimi. Mercury does a cazimi twice in Mercury's phase or Mercury's cycle, once while direct and once while retrograde. So what we have right now is because we had Mercury's direct cazimi yesterday, we know we're halfway between Mercury's retrograde cycles. So we had one before. We are halfway through the time that Mercury is direct, and then we will have a Mercury retrograde, I think, at the end of next month. It's going to be later in March where Mercury will retrograde in Pisces and Aries, just like Venus. Venus is not retrograde yet, though. Don't worry. We still have Mars retrograde to finish off, which we will do next week on the 23rd. I'm so excited. And then Venus will go retrograde on March 1st through April 12th. Venus is the one that I'm looking at the most with side eye because Mars is almost done. So I feel okay about that one now. We're like coming out of the woods on that. That doesn't mean we don't have Mars retrograde events to still think about, but it does mean like we're at the tail end of it. The tone is set. Venus is still coming up, and I'm giving her the side eye because she and Mars retrograde the least frequently. So she retrogrades, I believe it's every 18 months. And so the last retrograde we had was actually in 2023. I believe she was in Leo at the time, and it was in the mid to late summertime. I think she was retrograding in August. So currently making lots of progress, planning your 50th birthday celebration trip to Scotland. Oh, things weren't aligned till now to book the travel. Mercury does rule travel in some concepts. So that is really great. I'm glad the plans are coming together. That's beautiful and really aligns well with the astrology, Misty. Amazing. Congratulations. Happy 50th. Super duper cool. 13 more days of Mars shenanigans. Correct, Liz. Yes. And everybody is celebrating Misty in the chat, which I think is really cool. And I agree. I was helping someone else plan a Scotland trip using astrology the other day. And they were like, why do I feel like this is the right time for me to go? And I'm like, because this, and this are all lining up really well for you. You're going to have an amazing trip. Make sure you do go at this time. It's going to be an amazing time either way because the astrology is really good. But like if you could spend it in Scotland, that's what I would do, right? So Scotland is amazing. I hope you're I suggest, I'm not hoping, I'm not pressuring anything, but the Isle of Skye is really cool. There's a lot of ferry sites there. There's like the ferry bridge, the ferry falls, the ferry flag at Castle Dunvegan, which is really, really neat. It doesn't look like much now, but the lore behind it is really awesome. So I recommend checking that out. Yeah. So thank you guys for the reactions. Loving that too. So congratulations to Misty, and Nancy was in Scotland last year. Amazing. Cool. Yeah. Going to Skye on a bus tour. Amazing. Gotta love Skye. Um, yeah. So tomorrow the sun will square Uranus, which is a natural part of Uranus's cycle. All the planets interact with the sun at some point. That's the whole point. That's showing them going around the sun, just like we do. But then on the 12th, we do have our full moon in Leo, speaking of the sun, because the sun rules Leo. The sun is currently in Aquarius, which is why it's a full moon, because the moon will be in Leo and the sun will be exactly opposite. Would you guys like to see this on a chart? I can show it to you. I also have a video coming out I think tonight at like midnight. The video on the full moon in Leo is going to release, and you'll be able to get access to it through my newsletter as well. But I can show you a little bit now of what this looks like. We're going to test this feature. I will bring up Luna, favorite sort of program. If you're going to, especially when you're first getting into astrology, I'm going to zoom it down a little bit so I can still see the chat. Can everybody see this all right? Chart sharing capabilities. Yes, we have this now. I'm so excited. Amber, if you could let me know if we can view the screen all right. There we can see you and the chart. Amazing. Cool. So what we want to do here in Luna, if you're using this program, is go to cycles, and it's a full moon. Luna lists everything by new moon. So we're going to go to the last new moon. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go to the full moon. It's the sun and the moon opposite each other. It's the full moon on the 12th. And this is going to give me the chart for my location of this full moon. So we can look at the moon and we can make the chart a little bit quieter and easier to look at. Look at this. Boom. Now we are just looking at the moon and the influences on the moon. So this is our full moon in Leo that is going to be coming up on the 12th of February. Cool. I'm in the bottom right corner. So the fifth house is blocked by, you know what? I should live in the fifth house. Hey, Angela, great to see you. Yes. So if I'm in the fifth house, that means you can't see the moon. I'm not really sure how to change that, but just know that behind my face is the moon, and the sun is at 24 degrees and 6 minutes. You can see up here in Aquarius with Mercury. They were conjoined yesterday. And then I'm guessing behind my face is the moon. Unfortunately, I am the moon. Okay. I'm the moon now. And so what we're going to notice is they are exactly opposite each other. This red line here is connecting the sun and the moon. And so the moon is also at 24 degrees and 6 minutes, but it's in Leo, the opposite sign to Aquarius. Now, if Leo is ruled by the sun and the sun is in the opposite sign of its domicile, its rulership, this means that the sun is considered to be, okay, cool. That's unfortunate. We'll have to figure that out. But you can see most of the chart, so we'll work with it. And again, the video of this where I go through the whole thing and you can see the whole chart is actually releasing here on YouTube at midnight. But you can either subscribe here and you'll get notification that new videos are up, or my newsletter goes into even more depth and more things that I'm up to. So if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, you'll be able to do that as well. So what we get here is this opposition between the sun and the moon. I'm playing the moon in this situation. And the sun is opposite Leo, the sign of its domicile, which means we have the sun in what is considered astrologically to be its detriment or its exile. And I like the term exile because it helps us really understand the nature of what we're talking about when we say this. If the domicile of the sun, the home of the sun, is Leo, when the sun is as far away from home as it can be, it's in exile. So it just means that it doesn't have what it would normally have. It doesn't surround itself with its familiar surroundings. So it's in this space where the sun is still the sun, but coping with an environment that's not typical for the sun. So it's like taking someone from a tropical climate and putting them in Alaska. Yes, they're still themselves, but if they're anything like me, they're frozen up and their attitude isn't as great. So I don't like the cold. So what we have during Aquarius season is the sun is in this time of the year where it's like it's dark, it's cold. We're not getting as much of the sun's benefits in the northern hemisphere as we typically would. And so we have this period of time where the sun, normally ruling Leo, is saying, "Hey, I'm kind of out sick." So the moon is going to give us Leonine qualities. And every year during the Leo full moon, we have this example because in order for it to be a Leo full moon, the sun has to be in Aquarius, and the sun is only in Aquarius at this time of year, right? So this is typical. This is what happens every year. It's not something to worry about. But the Leo full moon is a time that we actually also draw in some Aquarian themes because the sun is giving Aquarius at this time. So while Leo is typically about the lion, right? Showing off your mane, showing your pride. Really, to me, Leo is about shining a light so that others can see. And so it's about setting an example. It's about leadership qualities in true leadership fashion. And so, so what we'll see there is the sun is now saying, "Hey, look, I can be an example. I can take you out of the darkness. I can shine light on something." And so, what you want to look for is where do you shine the brightest? And with the sun being in Aquarius, where does that light need to be? Where are the dark corners that only you can light up? And because everybody has a light, right? We all have one. We are a light, and we have our zones of genius. We have the things we're good at. We have the things we're passionate about, and they all tend to come together into life purpose and our drive and our spirit, as it was traditionally known. The sun was the representation of spirit. And so this is what, as Demetra George would say, your soul responds to. So when you're following your sun, when you're following your light, when you're shining your light, you are being the most fun, exuberant, expressive version of yourself. And so with this full moon, when the sun is in Aquarius, we're saying, where is the best place for me to shine? The really good comparison to this is that one metaphor or idiom, I'm not sure, where they say pearls before swine. And that's not to say that I don't like this one necessarily because it insinuates that some people are swine. But if you have pearls, swine don't have use for that. Swine would actually prefer something more useful to them, like whatever they're ready to eat that day, or a clean environment for them to sleep, or something like that. Pearls are something that should be in a different environment. So you're not going to get the appreciation for pearls in an area where the needs are for swine. So we could also say pearls before, I don't know, a schoolyard. Kids on the schoolyard would rather a ball or monkey bars or whatever. If you show them your pearls, they're going to be like, "Neat, but can I go play now?" And so you're going to feel like, "Wow, nobody appreciates my pearls." Not true, right? You just need to go where the people who appreciate pearls are. So pearls belong at a jewelry store. Pearls belong at a show for jewelry, or at the beach or something where people can appreciate what pearls do, what they are, where they also share that interest in them. So this is going to be about you deciding who you are, what makes you feel amazing, and without anybody else's impressions, without anybody else's opinions, who you love to be. And then next step, step 2, where that version of you will be most appreciated naturally. That is what I would focus on for this full moon. I'm so glad people are saying that this is making sense. I'm going to catch up a little bit here. Um, yeah, we can see the symbol. Okay, cool. Is the sun being in its detriment why this time of year always seems so long? Hunter, in my opinion, yes. But the sun is in its detriment. And so it's this time of year, I think, because of the amount of daylight we have, is in my opinion, again, this is a total opinion thing. That's probably why this time of year feels so long, because we've gone through the long nights and we're getting that daylight a little bit every morning, and I could use some more. And so we really are longing for that vitamin D that the sun gives us. So we're trying to find more of that daylight. And the more we don't have it, the less energy we have. Much like plants, we do need that sunlight to thrive. So that may be part of it. I'm sure there's a scientist out there who knows more about this than I do. But astrologically, I know that the attributes, like the detriment and things, are actually really attributed to the seasons and the qualities of the seasons. So it is connected to that more seasonal, almost meteorological concept. They just don't have the same value system. Exactly. So in the pearls before swine example, or pearls before children, they just don't have the same value system. They would have someone who is selling, juggling toys and all kinds of things, or throwing a circus. The school kids are going to love that. I always used to say, you got to make sure that you're where your people are, right? I am not, as an astrologer, going to go hang out at a basketball court and try to feel like I'm bringing value there, because they want people who are inclined towards basketball. They want the athletes. They want the people who can score the shots. I am not that person. I never was. And I am actually the person who tried to play basketball, started crying in the middle of the court, and ran off. So that is not my environment, right? That doesn't mean that I don't have worth. It just means that basketball is not the place where my worth is going to be valuable to other people and where it's going to be fulfilling for me to bring myself. You have to decide first who you love to be, and then decide, where does that fit the most, because I deserve to be around people who appreciate me and who are ready to be with me and who I can feel connected to better because we have so much in common. It's a compatibility thing more than it's a self-worth thing. You have tons of worth. You just need to put yourself in the place where it fits. And because we are in such a small world these days, it's actually easier than ever to find that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing screen. And hopefully this brings us back to just me. Yeah, so let me know if there's any problem with the stream. I will fix things as we go. This little, not so little light of mine. Oh, Misty, I love the song. Yeah, makes so much sense. Yay. These cloudy days have been a lot. They have been. And the storms are not helpful. Dude, I have something exciting happening tomorrow. And I was like, hey, I'm celebrating tomorrow for like dinner or whatever. We're supposed to get at least 4 inches of snow. And the infrastructure in the area I live, they have like 2 snow plows. So it's not that 4 inches is a lot. Someone who lived in the Northeast, I'm like, I can handle 4 inches of snow. The problem is my roads won't be plowed. So I have to like deal with that. I may order something out or do like a Wednesday breakfast or do a Wednesday celebration instead of a Tuesday one. But I'm accommodating. I'm making plans. Yeah. So these days are interesting. I love when nature does really cool things. I will say that. I've been storm chasing before. Thunderstorms are one of my favorite things. Snow is really pretty until it's not, until it gets like really dirty and in the way. So I have minimal patience for snow. Yeah. So this is perfect, Amber, actually. I want to be where the people are, right? Ariel needed to surround herself with the people she fit in with. And she did find that place eventually. And she was still able to maintain valuable family connections. You do not have to totally sacrifice one for the other all the time. Sometimes it is worth it. Found family is amazing. But yeah. Is Ariel an Aquarius? I have to think about that. I think naturally you would assume Ariel is a Pisces, right? But I have to see if there is like a birthday, which I can do now. What is Ariel's birthday? Let's see. Are they gonna Little Mermaid? No, that's just the actress for Ariel. How old is Ariel, the Little Mermaid? I know how old she is. They're not going to give me her birthday. She actually, I'd have to really think about this, but if I had to think about Ariel, I'm not sure I'd put her as an Aquarius. I might put her, because she likes collecting things. She really likes studying other people. So maybe she is Aquarian, but more anthropological. Anthropological. I think that's how you say it. I think Ariel might be an Aquarius or something in the Gemini area. She gives a little bit of Aries sometimes because she gets really ambitious. She goes for what she wants, that kind of thing. And she does not think very far ahead, makes sacrifices without thinking about the consequences. I think Aquarius would think a little bit more on that before making a deal with a sea witch. But yeah, so I think I kind of want to put Ariel as an Aries, but she might be an Aquarius rising or an Aquarius moon. You never know. Yeah, so let's see. How do you find that? I'm retired and need this. So Nancy, are you asking how do you find your people? I found my people through the internet. So I did not grow up in an area where my people were. I found my people by the first time I really felt like I found my people was when I went to an astrology conference and I realized this thing that I'm obsessed with, so is everybody else here. So if you're obsessed with something or if you're interested in something, go to a conference that is surrounded by that thing. And I started making friends there. I also was really interested in writing. So I was in a writing program and I made a friend there. My friend's name was Emily. Emily and I are now business partners. And so it was in this environment where it's like, I like writing. I'm going to do a program that helps me write. I'm going to make friends in that program because they also like writing. And then we made ways of connecting with each other. I like astrology. I'm going to go learn more about astrology at this conference. And while I'm there, I'm going to talk to people who also like astrology. And now I have friends. Most of my friends are not local. I will say that Amber is local. I met Amber through a spiritual conference that I, along with two of my friends, through so that people could find each other. Conferences are my go-to of how to find your people. This can also take place online in the form of chats, in the form of, using your hashtags and going on Book Talk and interacting with people there, joining programs. If you are into writing, I now run a writing program with Emily. We did it better than the one we were in. And we're taking pitches. If you want to write a book that changes the world and heals people as they're reading it, we would love to help you with that. That's like my sole passion. So feel free, thealchemistinkwell.com. You can check that out. But that's what I recommend to find your people. You could also go, like, meetups is a thing. Like the website meetups will show you local things. You find a topic there that you're interested in, you go to that place. There's a local holistic store here called Mama Luna. And if they do a social event, I'm going to go because I know the people I like to spend time around are likely going to be there. So I'm going to go there. Just think about your interests and find things that are happening that also align with those. And you might find people there who get you because they have the similar interests. So that's my best advice for that. Yeah, love, thunder, and lightning. Me too. I think Athena wants to work with me and I'm intimidated. I would ask yourself why you're intimidated. And I would ask yourself if you want to work with Athena. Like, you can, this is the same thing, right? If someone sends you a friend request, you can reject it, even if it's a deity. But in this situation, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I think Athena wants to work with me, you just want to say, what do I think Athena wants to do? What am I focused on learning in my own self? Do I want this? You can say no and they'll move on. It happens. But you can also say yes and set boundaries with energies just as much as with people. It's an important thing to do. I work with Athena on occasion. I work with Sekhmet a lot. My primary guide is actually the Christ energy. So there have been boundaries set with every single one of those. When I was a kid, every time I tried to fall asleep, I would see faces of spirits or people or whatever. And I had to eventually say, listen, I've got office hours and these aren't it. And it's really helped me a lot. Someone near the snowiest city in America. I'm really not a fan. Oh, Hunter, I'm so sorry. Yeah, well, now that we're here on YouTube, maybe I can do some shorts on like how I would do the astrology of Disney characters and then see if they have birthdays assigned to them. And yeah, we'll think about that. That sounds fun. I kind of like the energy of this space right now. So we'll see what kind of inspiration that leads to. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's hard to feel like a fish out of water. I think it was Einstein that said, "Don't ask a fish to climb a tree." Same concept, right? A fish needs to be in water. A monkey can climb a tree, right? If you're a monkey, you're going to climb a tree. You're going to be fitting in for that. People are going to be like, "Oh, you're really good at climbing trees." If the tree climbing thing is what they're, focused on. But then again, if you're a fish, you're going to get praised for swimming really well. So go where you can swim. Uh, yeah, good analogy. All right, cool. Catching up here on some of the comments. What's the week's full moon going to be good for shedding? Honestly, and I do put this in my video that comes out later tonight. It's good for shedding things that I want to say that you're obsessed with. And the obsession is what you're fixated on that you don't like about yourself. If there's something that you're like, everybody is staring at okay, I had a mentor once that had a friend who was trying to lose weight and they went out to lunch and this friend got a salad. And on the salad, she got ranch dressing. And apparently, she spent the whole time saying, everybody's probably judging me for getting ranch dressing. Oh my gosh, everybody probably thinks I'm like a horrible person for getting ranch dressing. And the mentor I was working with was like, nobody cares about your dressing. Nobody cares. Like this is something you're obsessing over, but nobody cares. Comparatively, there's an episode of Schitt's Creek where David has to renew his driver's license and he's freaking out about it. And his sister's like, literally, David, nobody cares. Just stop fussing over what other people think because they don't care. They're more focused on their own salad dressing. They're more focused on their own lives that are going on. This was a big theme in readings that I've been doing lately. Who knew we're coming up to this Leo full moon? So I would say, what are you most worried that people are judging you for? And shed that. They don't care. And that's good. It's good that they don't care. They should mind their own business and you should be who you love to be. That is what I would focus on. And again, I go into this in more depth in the video that's coming out tonight and in a little bit more of a write-up in Patreon as well as in the newsletter. So it's there. It's everywhere. Improv is a good place to meet people. I really like that idea, Amber. That's a really good one. If you find improv near you. Hi, Gabe. Gabe is also an incredible astrologer who I met at Norwalk, right? We met at Norwalk? Yeah. We hung out more at Lilydale, but yes, Gabe is incredible. Speaking of finding your people, Gabe, we've been talking about that. And I said conferences are my favorite. Yeah. Cool. Do you work with any of the archangels? If so, which? Yes, Dominique. Hi. Okay, you want to hear a funny story about an archangel and how I came to work with them? So one of my favorite healing techniques is working with angels to heal. And as I was getting into learning this, hi, Michelle. Yeah, I think it was Norwalk too, Gabe. Amazing. So what I was doing was learning this technique called integrated energy therapy, which uses angels to help you heal people or to help people heal themselves, and you facilitate it truly. And so this was the first time I'd ever met my guide. It was my first time like ever really getting introduced to a guide and things. I was coming out of Christianity to the level of like, we shouldn't work with angels. We shouldn't work with saints. I was very Protestant. So it's like, you have God, you have Jesus. What else do you need? And so I was opening myself up to this. And all of a sudden in my head, Fernando by ABBA is playing, and I see someone kneeling in front of me. And I'm like, cool, I guess your name is Fernando, because why else would that be in my head? And so for the next couple of years, my primary guide was Fernando. Until I had a consultation with a psychic out in San Bernardino, California, and they were like, do you realize you're working with Archangel Michael? And I was like, what? I know nothing about angels. I'm not interested. Like, I don't need angels, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, you're really working with Archangel Michael. So I started doing some research, and a lot of what I had intuited from Fernando matched a lot with what Archangel Michael was known for. And I was like, are you Michael? And you told me your name is Fernando. Yes. So yes, I have worked with archangels before. When I do the lesser banishing ritual, I personally like to use archangels assistance for that. You can use other things, but so you get your Raphael, Michael, Ariel, and Gabriel that you call in. And yeah, I do have a relationship with angels. They tend to be the pantheon that I am most immersed in. And I do kind of consider them, I call them the Abrahamic pantheon. There may be a better term for that. I haven't been aware of it yet. If there is one, let me know. But that's sort of the pantheon that I work with the most. So angels and I hang. Awesome. Yeah, cool. Hi, Gabe. Hunter, Lilydale is only 20 minutes from my house, and I've never been there. Lilydale's fun. When we went to Lilydale, my favorite part of Lilydale, actually, Gabe, was talking to you about Maternus, Firmicus Maternus, who was an astrologer who wrote during the fall of Rome. And just being able to sit next to a lake and talk about astrology at what felt like astrology summer camp. I loved it. By the way, if you're interested in like spiritual summer camp, that is something that is in the works, and I will give you more information about it. The Sacred Spaces Getaway is an iteration of this that's coming up in April. Applications for that are open as well. There's a link in my biography here, I think on YouTube as well, where you can get more information on that at sacredspacesgathering.com if you wanted it. Yeah. Always down for some storytelling. I appreciate you guys. I love telling stories. I don't know if you can tell that about me with the books that I've written and stuff. I do love telling stories. So Ren is saying, Athena reminds me of my mom. She knew she had been lurking around, had a dream where my mom, super non-spiritual, helped me deduce that she wanted to work with me. Well, the deduction thing does sound a little bit Athenian. But yeah, I would lean into that. Ask yourself why this might be happening. Ask yourself if that's something you're comfortable with. And then again, set your boundaries. That's my biggest recommendation when you're thinking about working with a new energy. In the Bible, they actually say confirm the energy, like make sure it's a safe one. Same kind of thing. Make sure you feel safe and comfortable working with this energy, the same as you would with a person. It's not as different as we like to think. Amber has an age-old guy. That's cool. Cool. Yep. The universe cake, our angels' highest vibe. In the universe cake, our angels in the highest vibe. When I think about the universe cake, I think about it more astrologically. And that's M's. So M, my business partner and co-host of Alchemist Inkwell podcast, really likes to explain the layers of the universe as a universe cake. I agree. There are two metaphors for the universe cake that I've worked with the most. In one, which is from a technique called theta healing, the universe cake is given 7 layers. And in those 7 layers, the angels actually fall on the 5th. And so the way that works is you have the first layer, which is like your animals, minerals, vegetables. The fae will hang, well, no, it's more of like the material things. The second layer gets into things that are like invertebrates, have life, but maybe not as much outward consciousness, because we know plants still have consciousness, but they would fall into the second layer here in this metaphor. The fae also hang out there a lot. We exist on the 3rd layer. The 4th layer is spirit. So you get your ancestors, spirit guides, stuff like that hanging out in there. Then you have the 5th layer, which in this theory is ascended masters and angels. And ascended masters would be like saints, I think. I also would put things like, Buddha and that kind of stuff there too. Then you have the 6th layer, which are the laws of the universe. So it's very amalgamous. And then the 7th layer is the creator energy / God. So in that you would have, creation, you would have the firmament, the framework of the universe, and then you start having beings, which would include angelic energies or similar, anything comparable in the pantheon you work with. Deities would end up there as well, right? And so in the chain of being, which is the more astrological, magical concept that I learned from Christopher Warnock through a book called The Elizabethan World Picture, which is really helpful. And it's actually for Shakespearean classes, but it shows you what it's like. You can also look up chain of being and you'll see images that kind of show you like this whole layer of hosts of things. Angels would end up in there as well, but they kind of also represent like the planets and things like that. So you would have the monad, which is creator. And then you have the, I think what comes next is like the fixed stars, which is more the firmament, the thing that holds the physical world together. And then below that, you start getting into the planets, or in Gnosticism, we might call them the eons. Eons and archons. And then you would go down layers ruled by Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, the sun, Venus, Mercury, the moon. And then we're in here in the world made of composite energies of all of those things where we here express in the physical. So it depends on what kind of cake you're looking at. I think the way to integrate understanding all of those things is really just knowing that like they're all right-ish and they're all completely wrong, because it's not as organized as we would like it to be, right? So there are frequencies that you can kind of go up and down. And remember, it's more like a trombone than it is a step ladder, right? It slides one into the other. So it's more of a spectrum than a binary, which I love. So hopefully that helps. Let me catch up here a little bit. I have a guide who says they are the highest vibe, and I'm trying to discover who. Ask them what they mean by the highest vibe. Maybe they're your highest self. So your highest vibration could be something that you could look into. Dominique, so the Titans would be on the same layer of the universe cake as angels. The Titans, I would want to do more research on this before saying something pretty more categorical, I guess. The Titans were what came before the Olympians. So I would actually put them maybe even a little higher. I compare the Titans to sort of the forces of nature situation, kind of like I would fixed stars. That's a personal thing that I've come around to because they were more forces of nature in the creation of the world and the forming of everything we are, rather than the Olympians who are more integrated into our daily business, right? So you have Zeus, who's like really involved with the humans. The Titans were not so much. So they, to me, might be on that higher level of eons above archons, or they would be on that sixth plane level of the forces of nature and the laws of the universe. That's what I would think if I had to fit them into the similar cake. But remember, it's all just a metaphor. So if you're working with a Titan energy, ask them and look into that. But that's where that's where I'm at on my thinking. Yeah, cool. I'm glad that that is a satisfactory answer. Is the hierarchical structure of all matter of life thought by medieval Christianity to have been decreed by God? The chain of being begins with the chain of being begins with God and descends through angels, humans, animals, plants, and mineral. Kind of, yeah. That is one definition. By the way, great research, Amber. But yeah, that's one definition of it. And you can see again how we're categorizing things that we don't have sense to make of, and we're just trying to put it in things that make sense to us. We do the same thing with language, right? Our words are really just ways to try to capture what we're feeling and what we mean, and sometimes you can't do it. They're entire words for feelings that have no name. So it's similar to that, right? We're trying to put labels on things so that we can understand them and work with them more closely. And that is a really good function. Just like we name each other. My name's Crystalline, but if you look at me and we have a connection, does that matter? No. But if you wanted to find me in a crowd and you shouted Crystalline, now I know to come to you. And that's the function of the name, right? It just helps us get connected so that we can have a deeper relationship beyond the labels. So I hope that that helps too. I love those spectrums. Me too. Yeah, it is kind of like an escalator. It's a very smooth process in that way. Yeah. The universe trombone. Uh, yeah, cool, 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 cool. Gabriel says, in myths, the Titans are basically the older generation to the Theoi, and usually their parents. Yep. Thanks, Gabe. Misty taking notes. Thank you. I'm glad that this is good enough for you to want to take notes. Danny, hi, good to see you. Oh my gosh, I think just about everybody found us here on YouTube, moving over from the clock app. So thank you guys so much for that. We are at our usual number and everything. You guys have impressed and humbled and made me feel so good. Thank you so much. By the way, speaking of finding your people, this is one of the ways I do it. If you're attracted to what I want to talk about, I know that we can connect and I know that what I have may be valuable to you, and that's what's important to me. So this is another way of doing that kind of thing. Um, I am, yeah, thank you all for migrating. Good morning, Danny. I'm going to take a quick sip of my water because I can feel my throat getting dry. Awesome. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about the astrology this week. Let me see. Is there anything I feel like we're missing? Oh, also note Mercury goes into Pisces on the 14th. We talked a little bit about detriment slash exile. This is a sign for Mercury that is Mercury's detriment because exactly opposite of it is Virgo. And so Mercury is both exalted and domicile in Virgo. It's a very unique quality that Mercury has. So when you go exactly opposite of that, Mercury is not only detriment, but also considered in fall. And so if you think about like Mercury really wants to go zippy zippy around the world, right? I don't know why I said it like that, but Mercury would like to zip around. Mercury is a fast moving planet, changes all the time. And Pisces can be considered like this primordial ooze that is slowing Mercury down. Is that a bad thing? No, Mercury is not doing what Mercury normally would do. But I will argue this for all of my Pisces Mercury people, and I have many friends who are. This is where the best poetry comes from. This is where the best, like, ephemeral kind of art comes from. Really great stories, really great imagery tends to come from this. So with Mercury in Pisces, no, Mercury is not going to be supporting doing the really spiffy, quick, organized kind of thought process. Mercury is going to encourage us to slow down. Mercury is going to encourage us to lean into our feelings. Mercury is going to encourage us to process things we may not have processed thoroughly yet. But in that, we produce really great creativity. So there is definitely some beauty to find there, but we're just knowing that, like, it's not the Mercury you would expect, it's the Mercury you need. Hopefully. Yeah, cool. And again, that is on the 14th on Friday, and then Mercury is gonna hang out there for a while. Um, let's see, Mercury's gonna hang out there, let me figure this out. Mercury goes into Aries on March 3rd. So it's a pretty fast process, but then Mercury is going to go retrograde on March 15th, come back into Pisces on the 29th, and will then go direct. I guess it's going to be on the 7th of April. So we have that Mercury retrograde within the Venus retrograde that we're thinking of for later. Mercury equals puppy zoomies. I like that. We'll call that Mercury uh in an air sign for sure. Um, Fun fact, Mars rules dogs, according to Firmicus Maternus. Um, I think Mars also rules cats. I always get this question, but I'm such a dog person. I haven't looked it up yet. Gabe, if you're still here, does Mars also rule cats? Um, yeah, I truly blame organized religion for creating a hierarchy of people. It was there before. I'm actually reading a book on Babylonian religions, and they also tried to categorize things. I will also say, counting people was considered bad luck in Exodus of the Bible. And so when they were counting people for taxes and for what's it called, for a census, you had to also like pay a tax to offset the fact that you were counting people. So in a sense, the hierarchy there was, I think the way we currently have hierarchy comes from the fact that humans ordered themselves with a king once we got civilization up and running. And so when they had a king, someone had to come in below that, someone had to come below that, someone had to come below that. And that's where hierarchy came in. And then we imposed that on the way that we think about deities as well. That is one of the statements made by this book, which I think is literally just called Religion of Ancient Babylon. That is the theory in there. It's that we created our deities, we categorized our deities in our image. And that is so humans created hierarchy, and then they did manipulate it for other means. And I think organized religion certainly propagated that and utilized it to a lengthier degree than may have been necessary for sure. Um, yeah, found myself making words to better define what I'm trying to say, right? You have to. And you know what? That's what the dictionary is for. We always add words to it. That's what slang is. It is the evolution of language, and it's the next iteration. Cool. Thank you, Misty. Nancy, I'm glad you're here too. I'm glad that this is something that that you feel like you're learning from. I love teaching. It makes me feel really good. And like I said, I hold myself accountable to educate myself as much as I can. I'm reading books on Mesopotamian religion. I'm actually reading the Oxford Annotated Bible this whole year so that I can know that document better, so I can be a better resource for what it actually is saying and for how much we're aware of what it is actually saying. The problem with ancient texts across the board is that we don't always have a complete idea, and furthermore, we don't always have a complete idea of what the culture was actually like and what they meant when they were writing it. We're doing our best, and it's important to acknowledge that we don't have all of the information. And so I think one of my favorite things to do is be like, hey, we actually don't know that one. And there it is. So it's important to know that sometimes not everything is complete, and we don't have to pretend it is. Liz is making coffee. That's amazing. I love coffee. Sometimes you need to slow down to speed up. This is true, Amber. Yep. Yeah. Wonder how Mercury is going to interact with the North Node. It'll be interesting. When a planet interacts with the North Node, it does seem to, according to ancient texts, it's considered to be amplified. Typically, that's talking about a natal chart, but I have noticed things happen when a planet comes to the North Node or the South Node. So you might notice a headline or two that day for sure. Any questions? We have 15 minutes left. Yeah, we have about 10 minutes. Cats are Saturn, I think. You know what? I like it, Gabe. My best source right now is Gabriel Rosas. Cats are represented by Saturn, and I can agree with that. I can agree with that. The other malefic, it makes sense. So cats are the out of sect animal of night, and dogs are the out of sect animal of day. Especially the ginger cats. Yep. Deconstruct the religion. Let's. We'll have some fun with that. Um, yeah, one brain cell moments. I like how the orange kitty moments have become the one brain cell moments, and we've removed that from people with blonde hair. um, it went somewhere, so there's that for us. Yeah. Cool. Well, we do have about 10 minutes left. This has been super fun. I hope it's been valuable for you too. Let me know what we liked about this. If there's more that we want to include, I do hope to take this video, which will be available now as a replay, and to break it up into some posts that we can use on social media as well. The more people we have in here, the more we will have a sustained community, the more friends you'll be able to make. I want to be a resource for you to find your people. That would be amazing. My midheaven is in Virgo. I really want to help people find their communities and their social situations. Um, yeah, so let me know how you guys like this mode of work. I'm enjoying it. I think it's really good. The only thing I'm going to figure out later is how to invert the thing, because right now you're probably seeing a better version, but like when I hold my hand up, it's the opposite one. And so if like I've been this in my hair has been bugging me this whole time, but I can't fix it because I will be disoriented trying to fix it. So I will figure that out. Um, How's the astrology looking for the Egypt trips? Dominique, you're on the second one, right? The one that starts in March? Because for our trips with Trova Trip, if anybody's wondering, I do look at the astrology and I do my very best with it. We have dates that they say you can use these dates, and here are the dates that we will run trips. And then I go through the astrology and I say, okay, can we do this? And our launch strategy is elected astrologically. I really appreciate that Trova lets me do these things and doesn't give me the weird look when I'm like, we have to launch at this hour on this day. um, Yes, I love this because I can watch you on my TV. I'm on TV. Yay. Thank you, Sophie. That feels fun. The second trip. So, Dominique, for yours, and I was nervous about this at first, and I'm going to tell you why. This will be a good story to wrap us up. Um, when you're on Trover Trip, you're going to want to look up Emily and Crystalline. We have trips that are coming up. The trips this year are waitlisted for a lot of it, but our next year trips are coming soon. We will be launching the first 2026 trip after we get back from Egypt, and we have some really fun stuff planned. So keep an eye out here and elsewhere on social media, and I'll let you know. Thank you, Amber. You're so amazing. So for the second Egypt trip, the first Egypt trip is between retrogrades. So Mars finishes retrograde on February 23rd. Venus starts on March 1st. And in that off week or so, we will have the majority of our first trip in Egypt. And I can tell, like, a lot of the people who are on that first trip are new travelers and they're really excited. And it's like, I'm really glad we have this nice, peaceful time for you to experience this. A lot of people on the second trip are people we have worked with before, like you, Dom, like Angela is also on that trip. And so we have all of these really self aware, divine, feminine, powerful people coming. And I'm really excited about that because this is going to be a trip during Venus retrograde. And yes, I have made Egyptian magic, astrological infused talismans for all of us to help with that. If you're on both trips, I've made a talisman for you. And so everybody's going to get a talisman. Don't worry. But on that trip, we have Venus retrograde. So we're going to be doing a lot of like divine feminine power healing kind of stuff. And I made something that I think is one of the keys for that. So you'll get that there. And we also are going to have, thankfully, not on a day when anything like massive is happening. We're going to have our first eclipse of the eclipse cycle. And so that's going to be, I believe, the lunar eclipse in Virgo. And I have things planned for us to sort of honor those. And I won't call them remediary because we're going to get the experience we need. But when I saw the people that signed up for that trip, I was like, oh, these are the people that can handle this. These are the people who have done the work, and we're going to empower each other together. And I'm really impressed with the people who are going to be on this trip together. And so I feel confident because I know a lot of you who are going to be on that second trip, where typically I would have been like, can we maybe not? I had to be like, listen, we're going to be doing a lot of divine feminine empowerment work here. Is that okay? Like, are we prepared for that? And Em and I sat with it. We meditated on it. We prepared ourselves, and we do feel ready for it. But we also know that there is empowerment to find in this, right? It's a great time for people to be coming together and going through the activation that is Egypt. I know this sounds woo woo and mystical and whatever. Egypt is a magical location. And I've gone there twice now. The first time changed my life forever. It is truly where I met my point of no return of like, I am leaning into my spirituality. I'm leaning into my magic. I'm not going back. And then even the second time, I felt so good there. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. And so I feel very confident on that second trip. We're going to be spending a lot of time on the Nile, which I think is a really great remedial thing for the fire of Venus being in Aries at the time. But yes, I have thought ahead. I have made plans. So has Emily. So has Hani. I warned Hani. I was like, "Hey, this is what we're up for." So our guide is incredible. Hani is amazing. I'm so excited to be spending time with Hani and to be sharing Hani's brilliance with you all. I think it's going to be great. So yeah, if you are there because you're like, I am ready to break through some stuff that made me feel limited before, and I'm going to break out. That is what you're likely going to be able to fulfill that intention, and I will be holding space for you to do that. I'm going to be there the whole time, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. I'm going to get a little bit caught up here. Amber, thank you for encouraging people to share and everything. I'm so bad at that. I'm so bad at that. Jackie, I love this. I can watch. Yeah, TV seconded. Awesome. Really like your description of the layered cake of the universe. Thank you. It is borrowed from things that I've read, but it's helpful. If you like the layered cake of the universe description where there's 7 layers to it, that is from Theta Healing. There's a whole book called The Planes of Existence by Viana Stibble. She goes through it. It's really useful to sort of get your first blush at the layers of the universe, and then from there you can be like, okay, I'm going to do these really sharp layers of color, and then I'm going to blend them together. You blend the edges a little bit and make it more of a gradient, and it helps. Um, yeah, it helps that I'm on a computer versus my phone. Yeah, it's awesome. Yay! Look, see, we're already making friends in the chat, which I love. Um, Yay, Dominique, I'm excited too. Also, I think I've said before, but you have asked some of the coolest questions, and I appreciate you being on here. Um, we get to accept or talk. I'm looking into that, you guys. Maybe I can help. uh, yeah. So that first round of acceptance of the applications, they are coming out soon. We have reviewed a lot of them, and we've gone through them. Keep an eye on your email this week. Who is the author of that book? It's the I can do this too now. 7 Planes of Existence. I'm going to be bad at it, but by Viana Stibble. Now, Viana just channeled this whole thing. It fits with other things though. So I can support it with other sources. I don't think she appropriated them. I'm not sure of that. But I do know this is where I got my introduction, and it really helped me as a resource. And it holds up with other resources that I have looked at, which is why I feel like I can recommend it, even though it's channeled by a modern person. I typically like to give you like 5,000-year-old resources if I can, but just know that this is a good start, and it is something that you will branch off from that point. Yeah. So like, don't take it too seriously, but let it be useful for what it is my recommendation with it. Yeah, I can tell you both. We went through and we're like, I know, and I know this person, I know this person, I know this person. We are making sure that the energy of everybody supports each other. We will be doing more of these, and it's going really well so far. And I feel confident for the two of you. Let's put it that way. Yeah, my name has a yellow highlight in there, which is really cool. Modern School of Ancient Wisdom gets to be like highlighted, which is fun. Awesome. Well, we are wrapping it up. I appreciate you all. We will do this also next week. It seems like this went well. So yeah, this is where we're going to be. If you want to share this with your friends so that we can kind of get it some more momentum, so more people can learn if this benefits them, I would be very grateful. And hopefully I'll be able to also turn this into smaller bite-sized things that are more shareable or savable or digestible as well. I'll be working on it. Bear with me. Have a great week, everybody. Gabe, thank you for being here. I actually really appreciate it because I feel like you're a very good check and balance for me. So thank you. It was great. And I will see you, Gabe, in a couple of months because I'm going to Norwalk and I can't wait. Awesome. Yes. Thank you all for being here. Um, Oh, yay, chat. Look at that. Amber, you are amazing. You will be in the chat 10 minutes before to get everything warmed up. I appreciate that so much. You guys are great. Have a good day. Drink water. Greet the sun. Get as much sun as you can, especially with these storms coming. And please stay warm and safe. I value you all. I think you are all very incredible. This Leo full moon, again, is about loving who you are and finding the best place to let that shine. And I hope that that is very easy for you. I will see you guys next week when we get to do this again, which is super fun. Have a great week, everybody.